What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And listen, today we finally are getting into some XFL football. We're finally getting to talk about football. Hey, if it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. All right. That's it, guys. We are here. We get to preview week 1. We get to talk about football. So, how we're going to do this is we're going to work through all the games. We're going to start with the first games, and we're going to work our way through the last games. And that's right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pick it against the spread because we have some spreads that we're going to look at today. And, I'll give you my thoughts on each one of the games. We'll break them down and then go ahead and give our final pick at the end of talking about each one of the games. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and let's get into our first game. And our first game is the very first game of the XFL. History in the making. And that's all going down in the nation's capital. That's right, that's going to be happening at Audi Field in Washington, D.C., It's looking like it's going to be a pretty good day there. I think it's going to feel pretty good. At 2 o'clock, we've got this game that's going to be aired on ABC. 44 degrees is kind of the forecast. Supposed to be a little partly cloudy there. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere for some football. 44, especially if it's not that windy there, especially inside of the stadium. I feel like that could be a really nice, atmosphere for the players, to where, it's just going to feel nice and comfortable, to where I don't think that the weather's going to have any involvement in this game whatsoever. And listen, we've got Seattle coming to town against the DC Defenders. And actually, we're going to go kind of off on a tangent here a little bit. But when you look at these two teams, you put their uniforms together and you see them out in the field, they just look sharp. It looks really nice. The contrast between the two teams and, how they look and the looks of them, it just looks really good out there on the football field. I mean, it looks like it's meant to be. It was designed really well. So I think it's going to be fun to not only watch the game and actually have gameplay, but to actually be able to, just kind of observe it just, from just a viewing standpoint. I think it's just going to look really pleasing to the eye with these two teams lining up against each other and battling it out. All right, so let's start things off here. We've got the DC Defenders, and the DC Defenders are all led by, and everything's going to be through Cardale Jones. And, he's the quarterback there. I think that we've got a good running back, kind of a staple going on here. And so, when I'm looking at these running backs, and I think that Presley is going to be, a workhorse, but I also think that Pumphrey's going to get in there as well. So I think that they're going to try to go ahead and establish the run here. I think that they're going to focus on establishing the run, but I think that they're going to let, Cardale Jones air out. I think that, he has the wide receivers to do that. I think that, in this situation, especially with Ross, again, they didn't list him as a starter, but everybody just keeps talking about him, and I just think that he's going to show up and shine, especially he's really fast, and so with Cardale Jones's big arm, I think that they're going to take some shots with him to where, I think that they're going to set things up with the run, and then they're going to hit him long. So I think that the offense is going to look really nice. Their defense is pretty stout. Now, granted, they lost their defensive coordinator. However, they had their secondary coach stepped up, and I think that they're going to be all right. Their secondary is looking really, really sharp, very stout. Their defensive front looks really good too. And all in all, they just have a lot of talent, and I think that that's really going to bode well for them in this game. Let's go ahead and look at the Seattle Dragons, because the Seattle Dragons are kind of a little bit different, to where DC is one of those teams that everybody's talking about winning the championship. Seattle is one of those teams that everybody's not talking about doing well at all. And for me, it's kind of tough because for weeks, I've been kind of actually touting them as, the upper echelon, not necessarily one of the better teams, but somewhere around 3 to 5 is kind of where I've had them. And everybody else is putting them down at like 7 or 8. And I don't know. Other people have seen things different than I have, and that's totally fine. It isn't so much like Brandon Silvers. It's weird. People kind of like Brandon Silvers, but then they think that he doesn't have the pieces around him. And, I don't know. And again, we don't really know these guys a whole lot. So some of it's, kind of hard to really gauge a lot of the stuff because we really don't have a lot of film on a lot of these guys. It'll be interesting to see what happens because they do have BJ Daniels, who played really well in training camp, was beat out by Silvers, but still played well, and he might get a chance to get in there, which will be interesting to see. When I look at the kind of running back, you've got Gardner, who's going to be the running back, but you also have Farrow and also Williams, who are there, and so it's going to be a interesting dynamic there, to where a lot of people are saying they're going to look to run the ball a lot, and that's going to be their makeup and that way, and it might be, but I just go back to Mike Riley being the offensive coordinator and, Jim Zorn. I don't think that things are going to get away from them too much. I feel like Jim Zorn has enough experience, especially Mike Riley as well, that I think that they're going to keep this thing closer than what people are expecting. So what are we expecting? We've got a line of 7 points. Now, in this landscape, you got to remember that we have a single possession is not necessarily 7 points anymore, or 8 points. It's 9 points because they can score a touchdown, which is 6, and then go for 3. So they can make up 9 points in one possession. So right now it's a little under one possession, which I can see it okay, to where I don't know where this, people are getting that Seattle is that bad of a team. So as I'm looking at this, I'm intrigued by it. I don't necessarily know that I totally disagree with the line on this game. I feel like people are just, maybe writing Seattle off way too early. Again, it's really hard to say because a lot of this stuff is really up in the air because we haven't seen these guys play. But from what Mike Riley has done, what he did in the AAF, and what he put together there in San Antonio, and as they went throughout the season, they looked really good, and at times they looked really, really good. And I feel like they're a little bit better off than maybe what people are giving them. Now, do I think that they're going to necessarily win the championship? No. I think that they're in a tougher the West is a tougher road. I think they've got two juggernauts out west, and I think that LA's not going to be an easy win. However, I don't know. I feel like they're a little bit better than what people are giving them. Now, granted, we'll see what happens. I think that Brandon Silvers will be able to manage the game well. Here's where I think the difference lies, though, is I really do feel like that DC defense is going to be stout, and I think they're going to be running at him all day long. I think that Seattle will run the ball. I think they're going to have to revert to running the ball to kind of keep things slower. However, I think that this game is probably going to be won and be out of hand probably the end of the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. I feel like DC is going to definitely pull away and do that, and I think that they're going to show their dominance in this game. So, that all being said, I just don't think that Seattle is that bad of a team as people are saying. However, in this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give up the 7 points, and I'm going to go with DC Defenders. I think they're going to have a really nice home game. I think the home crowd that's going to show up for them is going to be excited, and I think that they're going to go ahead and really give them a nice treat in this game. So let's go ahead and let's move on to our second game of the day on Saturday, and that game's going to be played at TDECU. That's a mouthful, but pretty much it's the Houston Cougars home stadium. They're in Houston. And we're looking at a 64-degree, partly cloudy kind of an evening. Going to be a very nice evening for everyone there. I think it'll be a great environment for people there. Got the LA Wildcats coming into the Houston Roughnecks stadium. That game's going to be aired on Fox. And yeah, I just think that it's going to be just a fun atmosphere all the way around. Now, we've got the Roughnecks who are giving up 5.5 points to LA. So let's go ahead and let's look at the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks are led by June Jones, and June Jones is one of those legendary guys when it comes to just slinging the ball. He runs this run-and-shoot offense, and I think that P.J. Walker is a fantastic pick for this offense. I think he's a fantastic pick if you're wanting to go with him in your drafting. So if you're drafting your fantasy team, P.J. Walker I think is a really good pick here. I think that he's going to be lighting things up. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Andre Williams there at running back. Some people are high on him. It'll be interesting to see, but they have a really good wide receiving core, and they're going to look to really exploit LA with Sammy Coates, and I think that they can, and I think that the other guys are going to step up too. But Sammy Coates is going to have a huge day. I legitimately could see PJ Walker walking away with 4 to 5 touchdowns in this game. I do think that that Winston Moss is trying to get this team to be a really tough team, and I don't necessarily know on the back end if they're really there personnel wise to where I think that with this run and shoot offense and how they run it and how it is, it's made to kind of exploit guys on the back end, and I think they're going to be able to exploit the LA's back end, their cornerbacks, their safeties, and that, and find kind of some weak links in there to really kind of get kind of an edge there in that passing game. I think that we walk away Saturday night and people are gonna be like, "Whew, that was a game!" And we're gonna be talking about PJ Walker next week and just about how big of a dude he is and what a game he had. Now, let's look at the LA side of things, because I don't think it's necessarily all bad for LA. The thing that's up in the air for LA is Josh Johnson, and everything for this offense runs through Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson is exactly what Norm Chow wanted, and he finally got the quarterback that he needs to run this type of offense with it. Now, that being said, he is going to be managing the game, and I think that he's going to be given opportunities to step up and take this with that. However, I think that this is going to be all just run through Elijah Hood, with one exception. If Houston gets up big, they get up by, let's say 14 points early. I don't know if they go for 16 points, something like that, probably like that. That's going to take pretty much LA out of their game plan. They want to run Hood, and then they're going to want to throw the ball a little bit with Johnson and let him be the quarterback that kind of manages things, run some play action stuff and that with it, but really rely on Hood and really just Moss wants to pound with this team, and he feels like he can with it. I think that I don't think that they've got really the team though to keep up with the race car that they're going up against with Houston, and I just think that Houston is just going to, just outrace them in this. What they need is they need a sports car to go up against Houston, and I don't think they have a sports car. What they've got is, they've got a battering ram, for all intents and purposes, and that's just. It's not going to bode well for them, especially in the style of football that the XFL is. Now, do I think that they're going to get blown out? No, not necessarily do I think that LA is going to get blown out. Do I think that this is going to be, a really good game? No, I feel like it's going to be kind of one of those things to where I think Houston's defense is going to give up some things to LA, but I think that Houston's offense is going to keep things out of reach for them for pretty much the whole game, to where this 5.5 points I don't mind giving up. I think that they'll probably end up being winning somewhere around like 8, 9 points, pretty much like a single score game or like a 2-score game, somewhere around 10, 11 points, something like that, to where, even in the fourth quarter, LA's got a chance to come back. But they never really get within striking distance to really make Houston sweat. So as I look at this, I'm definitely going to take Houston with this. I think Houston's a really good team, and I think that they're definitely going to make the playoffs. And LA, I think LA is going to have a hard. They're going to have a hard time. I really do believe. I think that. I just the philosophy that Winston Moss has. I understand where it's coming from, and it's smash mouth football, and yeah, I like it. I just don't think that it's going to translate well here, and I don't really think that he necessarily has all the personnel that he needs to really make that happen. I think he definitely has his quarterback. I think he has his running back. The defense is suspect to me in those regards, and I just don't think that they can really put up the numbers that they need to, especially to keep up with a Houston team like that, to where, I'm not as high on them as some people are. I'm actually a little bit lower. I just, the philosophy just kind of, scares me away, and I'm a little bit shy about it, to where I feel like, at the end of the day, I think they're going to end up, with about 5 wins, maybe, 4 or 5 wins, something around there. I don't see them breaking 500, over 500. But in this game, I think we might be talking on Sunday or next week that PJ Walker is a stud, and that he could be the MVP of this league by the end of the season. And we're going to be talking about Sammy Coates, definitely. Like those two guys are going to be the front runners. That they're going to put up some ridiculous numbers, I think, tomorrow. So that's kind of what I think about when I think about our second game, and that should round out our first day of games. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to day 2. That's Sunday's game, and we got 2 more games. And let's start off with the 2 o'clock game, and we are going to New York. That's right, we're going to MetLife Stadium. We're going to the home of the Giants and the Jets, and this might be our best game of the whole weekend when we look at things. Now, we're going into New York, New Jersey. I know a lot of you guys, from there. I understand that the stadium there is in New Jersey. So that's where we're going. And we're looking at a really nice, partly cloudy day. Again, looking at 46 degrees. It's going to be nice. As long as the wind can stay down, I think that it's going to be great weather for football, perfect football weather. And so I think we got a great day for football, and we got 2 good-looking teams out on the field. We've got the Vipers with their very vibrant-looking colors. Now, granted, I'm not a huge fan of them, but when you contrast that with that black and you put those together on the field, whoo, that looks really, looks really visually just neat. And so that's going to be fun to watch that and see that out on the field with that Viper logo and that Guardians logos. Both of those very aggressive logos and, just very different. One is, everything shadowy, dark in that. And then the contrast of that, everything really, vibrant, neon, bright. And so just seeing the contrast, that I think is just going to be fascinating. So we've got a game at 2 o'clock. We've got the Tampa Bay Vipers coming into town to face the New York Guardians. Now, the Guardians are actually our only home underdog this week, and they're not getting a whole lot. It's 2.5 points. And like I said before, when you're looking at the extra point, the point after tries, you can go for 3. So that's really all they're down by when it looks at the scheme of things of this line. Is just an extra point try or a try after a touchdown. So, that it's not as much as what they seem. And, this is one where I kind of struggle with. And Tampa Bay's, and let's just start with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is just one of those teams that I struggle with. I haven't been able to really figure them out at all in in the training camp, and they're just people that are absolutely in love with this team. They've kind of fallen in love with Trestman, which I'll admit I like Trestman. I think he's a really good offensive mind. I think that when he was a head coach in the NFL, he had some issues with some things. I think that he's done really well as offensive coordinator and done a great job in the CFL. And that's where people are really riding on him, is that he can make that transition from the CFL, and that it's going to really fall in nicely here with the XFL, and that his style of offense and what they're going to be doing there in Tampa Bay is really going to translate well. I don't know. I was one again. I've had them at the bottom just because of everything he's been trying, all the different things they've been doing with it. There are a lot of people are huge and high on Aaron Murray. I am not. And now, if he turns around, he has a good game, I will personally apologize on here for doubting him if he goes out there and plays lights out. I promise that I will go out and I will, in the next video, apologize, and I will jump on the Aaron Murray bandwagon as soon as I see it. I just haven't seen it yet, and so I want to see that. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about he's been throwing great. He looks like the dude, and I really do want him to succeed. I'm just not convinced that when you get him out on the field that's what's going to happen. Now, I think that offense is kind of set up. I think that they're gonna do really well. And I think with the Guardians, the way that the Guardians are going to be, I think that it's going to bode well. It's a good matchup for them. The reason being is I think that Truesdale is going to be he's going to be the best tight end in the league. So if you're going to go out there and get a tight end, he would be the first tight end off the board for me. Playing in a fantasy football league, if Aaron Murray can get him the ball, I think that he seriously is going to be, people are comparing him to Gronk. He'll be the Gronk of the league, or, a Tony Gonzalez, something like that. Probably more like a Tony Gonzalez, type of a thing, or Antonio Gates, maybe even be a better comparison with that, to where he's just going to be a matchup nightmare for other teams. And I think that will be the case for New York. I don't know if they'll know exactly what to do with him. And the sneaky thing is that I think people are going to be talking about Devon Smith as just kind of, they're surprised, and I think they're going to be surprised at the end of the day, the type of stats that he has and just how much impact that he has on the game. I think that he does all the fundamentals well, and he just really doesn't stick out to you, but I think that he's going to make an impact on the game, and so kind of like what he did with the Apollos. He did a lot for them, but he never really got a lot of the credit. And so I think he's gonna be an unsung hero for this Tampa Bay team. People are warming me up to him. As I talk about him, I get a little bit more excited about him. But I'm still not there yet for them making the playoffs, or having them win the championship like some people. But I'm warming up to them being good. Let's go ahead and go to New York. And New York has been the team I've been saying since day one is a sneaky good team. Do I think that they're going to make the playoffs? They've got a really good shot. And if they can keep things, really tight, close together, I think that they're going to make the playoffs. As I look at this, I think that they're really planning on kind of upgrading Gilbride's offense from New York. What do I mean by that? I think that he's going to take the model that he had there, and I think that they're going to kind of accentuate kind of the passing game that they had with Eli Manning, and really massage that to make it just a little bit more dynamic with that. I think that they're going to feature Tim Cook, and they're going to pound it, big, bruiser, pound with that. But I think that they're really going to open up the offense a little bit more. than what we're used to with Kevin Gilbride, to where I think that we're going to be a little shocked. And I do think that they're going to have an opportunity to really take advantage of the Tampa Bay defense. Because if there is a weakness, I think, on that Tampa Bay team, I think it would be the defense. To where I think that they might even make New York look a little bit better than what New York might be on offense. And two, I like Matt McGloin. I think that New York, they love him. He's the exact guy that they want. They want him throwing the ball. He's going to be a game manager, and I think that. Excuse me, at the end of the day, he's not going to make any mistakes. And that's what's really going to keep them in this game. I think that you're going to see, Tampa Bay all over the field, and I think you're going to see them stalling out as they get closer and closer to the goal line. I think that you'll see that Guardians defense, starting to stiffen up, and so I think you'll see that, and that will be what's keeping them in the game, because Tampa Bay can't punch it in. And then I think that Matt McGloin won't be making mistakes, to where I think that the game will come down to, towards the end of the game. And I think that I hate to say this, but maybe I'm going to go ahead and give up the points and go with Tampa Bay. Is that right? I don't know. I guess guys are starting to wear off on me, and I think that they can pull this one out in the Meadowlands. And yeah, I think that in MetLife Stadium, and so yeah, I think right now I'm feeling okay about the Vipers. I don't really want to puke right now with them, so hey, we'll take them. Who knows? I could have a change of heart like that. See. All you Tampa Bay fans, I'm really not that bad of a guy. I don't really hate your team. I just not as high on them as everybody else. Okay, let's go ahead and let's move to the last game of the weekend, and we're going to be rounding it out in Dallas. And who would have thought that out of all of the places, that Dallas would be the one with the worst weather? Now, granted, it's still going to be in the 60s. It ain't like it, in the Midwest and, it's cold and rainy. No, I mean, it's going to be decent weather. There, it's going to be about 63 in the mid-60s there. 63, 66, something like that around game time. However, they're calling for thunderstorms, about 66% chance of rain there, which kind of stinks. You really would want, especially for a night game there, at Global Life Park, they've been working on this thing and really revamping that stadium. And the stadium, if you haven't seen the pictures, it looks gorgeous. They've just done a fantastic job with it. It looks super nice. It looks really good. And it kind of stinks that it's going to be raining there. Hopefully the rain will hold off for the game. And we'll, be able to kind of have that total experience with that without having to experience the weather and just have a nice game. Now, St. Louis is coming to town, and the Renegades, I think, are just going to blow the doors off of them. This is going to be one of those games to where if you're, it's Sunday evening, you're going to be watching it, and you're going to be watching it with one eye and getting ready for Monday with the other eye, whether it be getting all the dishes around or whatever, or, putting all of your stuff together that you need to get ready for work on Monday. I think by the second quarter, this one's going to be over. However, saying that, I think that Tamau's going to give us some neat stuff. I think that we're going to come away saying, this kid can play. He's kind of electric. I just think it's going to be in a losing effort. They're going to definitely lose by double digits, probably more than that, probably somewhere around 20 points. But I think that he's going to make an impact. They'll probably score about 20 points. He'll score about 3 touchdowns doing some crazy stuff. I think it'll be kind of neat to watch him with that. I do think that they're going to Michel. I think that they're going to feed him the ball with that. As I think that Dallas. I don't know. Landry Jones, will he play? Will he not play? I don't think he's going to play. I think Philip Nelson's going to play, and I think that they might stall out the first couple series, but after they get rolling, I think it'll just be a slaughtering. And I just think St. Louis has just had a lot of issues and a lot of things going on with them in St. Louis, whether it be coaches leaving, whether it be a new head coach, whether it be a rookie quarterback. I just think it's going to take time for them. And I've been saying that their defense is good. Now, other people are saying they don't like their defense. With that, I don't know. Again, these are guys we haven't seen play, so who knows what it is with that. I just feel like that they're just going to get the doors blown off of them, and it's just going to be a nice, easy win for Dallas, and that at the end of the day, we're going to be talking about Dallas is a really good team, and that we are just crazy to just excited to see what Landry Jones is going to do when he gets back. I think that that's what we're going to be talking about after this game, and that pretty much that's going to solidify St. Louis being down in the cellar. And not really a whole lot else that I really kind of want to say with this. I think that I think that that's going to be nice, though, because the XFL get to showcase some of the other stuff through the broadcasting, just kind of the production that they put together with ESPN and, just kind of the presentation that they put together. They'll be able to accentuate those things without having to really completely focus exactly everything on what's going on the field, to where they can kind of talk about all of the innovations, the changes, what people are seeing that's different, that type of a thing, and really trying to bring the audience that's tuning in maybe for the first time or are curious, really try to give them an opportunity to kind of explain and show them what their product is. I don't think that they're going to get that, though, marquee late Sunday night game that they're really wanting. But I think that it'll be a fun atmosphere regardless. So yeah, I definitely go ahead. I'll give up the points all day long. The 9.5 points. Remember, the 9.5 it's just over one score, right? Because you've got the 6 points for the touchdown, and then you can go for 3. So I mean, looking at it, it's really not that big of a spread. Like I said, I think that they're going to win by more than 20 points. We'll come away saying that, Philip Nelson did a good job. Can't wait to see what Landry Jones does if Philip Nelson had a good day. And I think you're going to see some gaudy numbers. I think some things are going to be a little bit different than what we're used to from pro football, like stat-wise. Things are going to look a little funny. I think that teams are going to be really trying to figure out like the kicking game and how that all works out. And, should I go for 2? Should I go for 1? Should I go for 3? Type of a thing. And these first, I think, 2-3 weeks, I think we're going to see teams figuring out how to scheme things. And then as they kind of figure it out, I think that, week 4, week 5, week 6, we'll start to see patterns develop. And I think by later on in the season, we'll all be like tuned into, okay, yeah, they're probably going to do this, and kind of have it down, the tendencies and what people are going to start to do in different situations and that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It's going to be a fun day, 2 days. I'm looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching some football. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to stream. I don't have the setup for it. But if I can do some things, hopefully here in the next couple weeks to try to figure some things out, I will definitely try to do that, because I'd love to sit down and watch the game with some of you guys. And that with it. But I'll definitely, try to get back on, give my early reactions at the end of the night on Saturday, so you guys can kind of see what I thought about it. And then we'll definitely go through and break those games down a little further in next week. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, guys. We covered a lot, and we've covered a lot of ground, but listen, football is here. I'm excited. I hope that you're excited with it. It's ecstatic. Now, I want to hear what you think. Let me know down in the comments who you've got, what lines you're taking, which ones you're staying away from, who you got for each one of the games. Let me know down there, and let's have a discussion about it. All right. Well, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.